Hey everybody, welcome to our Facebook Live event today. I'm Tammy Turner. I'm the Community Education Manager here for Hospice of the Chesapeake, and it is National Nursing Assistant Week. So I am so grateful to have Nona Austin here. She's one of our certified nursing assistants, and she's here joining me today, and I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So we're going to talk about what Nona does and her role as a CNA, which is a certified nursing assistant. But before we get into that that part of everything, what I wanted to start out with is a question regarding what's really impacted you or made an impression on you as far as working with a patient. And I know we can't go into names and too much detail, but I'm sure you've got lots of stories. And I'm just curious if we could start with one of them.
Yes, I've had some experience with a patient, and during the time of my experience, I had thought we had lost the patient.
Okay.
And I had to do some quick thinking.
Okay.
And during my quick thinking was to transfer the patient from where she was sitting onto the floor. Then after that, I had some help by the family to transfer her from the floor to the bed. Then after that, I had spoke to the patient and called her by her name. And finally she responded. And I was just like, thank God that she was okay.
Yeah. And
the family, they thanked me very much for what I had did. And it inspired me a whole lot to see that patient was doing okay.
Okay, all right. So a lot of the time though, you're interacting with someone. I mean, your whole role is to work with someone towards the end of their life, right? Like you're there at that journey with them. Is that's gotta be super meaningful. That's just gotta be a really intense time, I would think.
To me, it's not too intense because a believer in having faith makes me stronger. Before I go into a patient's house, I make sure that I am strong first to be able to challenge the transitioning that the patient is going through.
Is that so walk me through. Let's talk a little bit about what your day-to-day sort of role is. You are providing hands-on care for people at that final stages of their life. What does that look like? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Challenging during their life.
Like what are you doing for them? Are you taking blood pressure?
I'm doing AM care, which is their bathing, sometimes assisting in feeding, sometimes transferring, and we make up their beds, and there's other things that they ask for, and sometimes we don't go above and beyond because we have a care plan that we have to follow. So we do mouth care and everything according to the care plan. I try to keep that to where I'm supposed to be.
So the people that you're interacting with, the patients, are they at different stages? Would there be someone that might be more alert and more able to speak to you, and then other people that are sort of more, quiet and not really responsive?
Some of the patients that I've taken care of are responsive, and we talk and we have conversations, and they tell me a little bit about themselves, and they tell me about their lives and how they lived and how happy they were, and they think that their life is over because they can't do the things that they used to do.
Right.
And I would tell them, you're still here. So you can continue to be the person that you are. If they wear makeup or if they like to dress a certain kind of way, that they can still do that. Patients that I have taken care of that are not responsive, I still talk to them. I still give them some kind of feeling and let them know that I am there. I sing to them. I can say quotes to them. And that makes me happy to know that I can do that with the patient. And their feelings, as far as my hands on and me touching them, shows them that there is some kind of warmth there to them and compassion.
Some sort of connection.
Yes.
What a gift.
Thank God for that gift.
You are providing such an incredible gift gift that I think a lot of people probably would be like, I could never do that. Like, just say that to you. Like, that is such a remarkable thing that you do for people, and I hope you know that. Like,
Yes.
it's incredible.
Yes. Well, I truly believe when I took the job as a hospice aide, it was a calling.
Okay.
And you got to have that compassion. You got to be strong. You got to be knowledgeable in what we're doing with people that are transitioning from their illness and to their death.
Right.
So we have to be mind strong about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
If you guys are just tuning in, I'm Tammy Turner. I'm the Community Education Manager here at Hospice of the Chesapeake, and I am joined today by one of our certified nursing assistants, Nona Austin. If you have questions for us, you want to join our conversation, if you've had a personal experience with someone who was a CNA, I just think it would be great to hear that and to share that. Nona sharing a little bit about what some of her role is here as a CNA for Hospice of the Chesapeake, and I think what I'm just blown away with is the magnitude of the time that you're with somebody, like what's happening during that time period. It's when I say intense, I'm just talking about the emotions, and I'm sure there's a lot going on with the family members. There's probably a lot happening, emotions are probably running pretty high.
Well, I always tell the families that I'm there for them just as much as I am for the patients. And sometimes the family would get into conversations, well, my brother and sister doesn't help, or their cousins or the sons or whatever, they don't come and help, and it's all on me. And I would say, really, it's not all on you, and I think that's a personal feeling, and that's something that I don't have any control of.
Right.
So I try to give them the best that I can to try to be a part.
Right.
I can't be family, but I can be a part of somebody that can give them emotional support and support.
Right. Yeah, so you're there. I mean, you're walking this journey with them the last few days. You're walking with them, and you have the patient themselves. And I think it's beautiful that you shared that whether the person's responsive or not, you're still providing the same interaction and care and concern and compassion.
Yes.
And then that kind of flows through and goes to the family as well, because they're on the ride as well. Like,
yes.
And I'm sure it's different dynamics. We have different relationships. It really is. I hear what you're saying. It's a calling, and it's such a precious time of someone's life.
Yes.
That to be sort of there is, I'm sure, a big deal. Right?
It is, yes.
I wanted to ask you, I have a reaction sometimes when I tell people I work for Hospice of the Chesapeake. They kind of, as soon as I say the H word, the hospice word, they kind of do the facial reaction is like, and this sort of like, oh my goodness. So I was curious if you share with somebody that you work for Hospice of the Chesapeake, and especially that you're there with people at the end stages of their life, what kind of reaction do you
I met a lady in the grocery store about a couple of weeks ago, and she read my name tag on my shirt, and it said Hospice of the Chesapeake. And she says, oh, and I said, don't have that kind of feeling. I said, we are the best. And I said, especially where I work at Hospice of the Chesapeake. And she said that she had that experience and that she would never call them again.
Oh my.
She didn't have Hospice of the Chesapeake. She used another hospice company. And I told her that caregiving, we are there to comfort them. We are to be there to show love and kindness and be supportive to you and your family. And I think that made the lady feel kind of good.
Yeah.
But that was something that was going on in her past.
Right.
So
yeah,
I
different people have different reactions.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
and different
she was feeling
experiences.
kind of negative.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people just with the hospice word in and of itself, that it scares them, and more, death is a scary thing for some people. But I hear what you're saying too. Initially, you were talking about you have your faith, and your faith is helps you and helps strengthen you, especially in what you do day to day. Do you ever, are there other things that you do to sort of take care of yourself? Because I would think it's a demanding job.
Rest. And I have a supportive family.
Awesome.
So rest.
Yeah, that's good. That's really important to do. Caregivers, are there other folks that are involved with care as far as, in your role in what you do?
Are you speaking about other caregivers?
Yeah, are there other folks that are sort of involved in the family aspect and providing care as
Yes,
well?
some of the families are very helpful to taking care of their loved ones, and they're very supportive, and they still want the best for their loved one, even though that they know that they are going through a situation and transitioning.
Yeah.
But I always try to tell them to be mindful and continue to be strong. And I know it's not easy for me to tell them that. It's hard.
Right.
But stay prayed up. That's all I can say.
Well, and I'm sure your role kind of supports them. Like that's what you're doing there.
Yes.
You're not only supporting the patient, the person who's transitioning from this world, but you're there for their family.
For their families
as
too,
well.
yes.
I'm sure you're a sounding board, you listen to them. I'm sure there's a lot of emotional support.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do listen to the families.
Yeah. Who else is involved on your team? I know you have other folks that sort of work together with you, providing care for the patient.
We have the social workers,
Okay.
we have the spiritual counselors, the chaplains, and they're helpful too. And then some of the families, they ask me, do I know any of the chaplains or any of the spiritual counselors or the social workers? And I always ask them, how is that helpful to the families? And they say, oh, it's very good. And they would tell me, well, I have a lot of great experience with the Hospice of the Chesapeake.
Oh,
And I said, oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
that's great.
So if you need anything, please keep in touch. And the family is glad to hear that, knowing that they can depend on the Hospice of the Chesapeake.
Yeah, I think a lot of families I think it ends up being, they're surprised how much it is for them. They think it's going to be all about their loved one, and then they're like, wow, this has been such a relief for me as the family member and the caregiver, that I can, sort of have support from people like you that come in, and emotional support and physical support, and do the help through that journey.
Yes.
Right. Thanks you guys for watching us today. Feel free to add comments. We'll be checking back on the video. Feel free to share this. We appreciate your support, and thanks for watching.